2020 hasn't started too well for us. We're living during an absolutely terrifying time. A pandemic, a virus running rampant across the globe, infecting thousands, resulting in us self-isolating and social distancing from our friends and loved ones. It's difficult. It truly is. However, this isn't the first time we've seen something like this happen. We have also seen it on the big screen, with many films seemingly predicting these events. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 scary epidemics from horror fiction. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. Coming in at number 5, we have World War Z. World War Z is a 2013 apocalyptic horror movie directed by Mark Foster based on the 2006 novel of the same name by Max Brooks. The film stars Brad Pitt as Jerry Lane, a former United Nations investigator who must travel the world to find a way to stop a zombie pandemic. Now, this movie perhaps features the largest mass of sprinting zombies ever seen on screen, and it is absolutely terrifying. My mind will never erase the image of thousands of zombies stampeding over one another, climbing their way up each other's body to scale a wall. Still sends shivers down my spine. World War Z polarized critics, with it receiving a 66% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with the general consensus reading, "It's uneven and diverges from the source book, but World War Z still brings smart, fast-moving thrills and a solid performance from Brad Pitt to the zombie genre." The film was a commercial success, grossing over $540 million and becoming the highest-grossing zombie film of all time. Let's all count our blessings that we're not living in the world of World War Z, because I wouldn't last one day. Coming in at number 4, we have Train to Busan. Train to Busan is a 2016 South Korean action horror film directed by Yeon Sang-ho and starring Gong Yoo. The film mostly takes place on a train to Busan as a zombie apocalypse suddenly breaks out in the country and threatens the safety of the passengers. This film is an absolute thrill ride from start to finish, not to mention incredibly claustrophobic, with an infected young woman running onto the train before it departs and infecting people on board. And before you know it, half the train is infected and stampeding through the carts of the train looking for flesh. The film quickly became one of the highest rated movies on Rotten Tomatoes, with it receiving 93%, with the general consensus reading, "Train to Busan delivers a thrilling, unique, and purely entertaining take on the zombie genre, with fully realized characters and plenty of social commentary to underscore the bursts of skillfully staged action." It's also really sad. I cried many times. Coming in at number 3, 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later is a 2002 British post-apocalyptic horror movie directed by Danny Boyle and starring Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, and Brendan Gleeson. The plot depicts the breakdown of society following the accidental release of a highly contagious virus and focuses upon the struggle of 4 survivors to cope with the destruction of the life they once knew while evading those infected by the virus. Danny Boyle successfully changed the zombie genre forever with this movie and paved the way for future horrors to come. The movie received critical acclaim. Many praised the performances, screenplay, and atmosphere. It is also credited with reinvigorating the zombie genre of horror film, as well as increasing the popularity of fast-moving zombies. The movie was such a success it was followed by a 2007 sequel 28 weeks later, as well as a graphic novel titled 28 Days Later, The Aftermath, which expands on the timeline of the outbreak. In 2017, a poll of 150 actors, directors, writers, producers, and critics for Time Out magazine ranked it the 97th best British film ever. Coming in at number 2, Blindness by Jose Saramago. Blindness is a novel by Portuguese author Jose Saramago. It is one of his most famous novels, along with The Gospel According to Jesus Christ and Balthazar and Blamunda. Now, the story is of an unexplained mass epidemic of blindness afflicting nearly everyone in an unnamed city, and the social breakdown that swiftly follows. The novel follows the misfortune of a handful of characters who are among the first to be stricken, and centers on the doctor's wife, her husband, several of his patients, and assorted others, who are all thrown together by chance. The novel is both haunting and disorientating, with the sightless patients becoming subject to violence, exploitation, and fear, as the group must band together to escape their confinement from quarantine in an abandoned mental hospital. However, they can't escape the collapse of society. The novel is broken up into parts. The first part follows the experiences of the central characters in the filthy, overcrowded asylum, where they and other blind people have been quarantined. However, we quickly jump into the anxiety over availability of food caused by delivery irregularities, acts to undermine solidarity, and lack of organization which prevents the internees from fairly distributing food. Conditions degenerate quickly as armed guards gain control over food deliveries, resulting in people fighting one another just to survive. Saramago wrote a sequel to Blindness in 2004 titled Seeing. The new novel takes place in the same country featured in Blindness and features several of the same characters. The novel also went on to be adapted to screen by Fernando Meirelles, with Mark Ruffalo and Julianne Moore in the starring roles. And finally, coming in at number 1, Contagion. Contagion is a 2011 thriller directed by Steven Soderbergh. Its cast includes Marion Cotillard, Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, Kate Winslet, and more. The plot concerns the spread of a virus transmitted by fomites, attempts by medical researchers and public health officials to identify and contain the disease, the loss of social order in a pandemic, and finally the introduction of a vaccine to halt its spread. Now, as you might expect, the disease disaster movie is on everyone's lips right now. What with COVID-19? The two bear some striking similarities. I'm just hoping we don't reach Contagion levels, because things get nasty very fast. Everyone dies. Following their collaboration on The Informant, Soderbergh and screenwriter Scott Z. Burns discussed a medical thriller film depicting the rapid spread of a virus, inspired by pandemics such as the 2002 to 2004 SARS outbreak and the 2009 flu epidemic. The film was praised by critics for the narratives and the performances of the cast. It was also well received by scientists who lauded its accuracy. 9 years later, the film received renewed attention as well as viewership due to the 2019-2020 coronavirus pandemic. And it's not over yet. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any epidemics from horror that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Top 5 scary telekinetic SCP monsters. Ryan Valino said, SCP Foundation finally captured and contained Lucy. We can sleep safely now. P.S. Stay safe, Queen Lucy. Can't wait to have you back. Don't worry, I'm still here. I'll still be recording videos. You just won't see my face for a while, but I'm still here. Codeman said, Lucy is under self-isolation. Keegan's on crutches. What the F is going on over there in Canada? I said stay safe last video, damn it. It's not my fault that Keegan broke his foot. That was his own doing. I'm being smart being under self-isolation. Don't blame me. Don Pandemaniac said, you sound more clinical, which is very suitable when narrating SCPs. Truth. There's something about not being seen that makes me more clinical. I don't know. I can be more fun if I want to be. DC Carter said, is Lucy 105? I'm blanking on what SCP-105 was now. I knew I should have written it down. Oh well. No, I'm my own SCP. I'm SCP-0001-001. Look me up. I'm surprised no one's written that yet. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later.